In this video, I'll be sharing how I make fresh milled whole wheat hamburger buns. This recipe can also be used for hot dog buns. The recipe will be in the description box down below. Thank you for watching. Now there are two versions of this recipe, one version with an egg and one version with sunflower lecithin. Both egg and sunflower lecithin are fat emulsifiers, so they help to make the bread nice and soft. I do find that sunflower lecithin makes it just slightly more softer, but today I'm going to be using egg for this demonstration. Okay, and now to the recipe. So first you want to start by adding 373 grams of water to your mixer bowl, 37 grams of honey, and 55 grams of oil. Now if you're doing the sunflower lecithin version, you're going to add your sunflower lecithin in as well, but if you're doing the egg, you're going to hold off until after the dough is done resting. And now add 532 grams of fresh milled hard white or hard red flour to your bowl. I'm purposely leaving out the salt and the yeast. Once all of those ingredients are in your mixer bowl, mix until all of the flour is well incorporated. Once the flour is well incorporated, cover it and allow it to rest for about 20 minutes. When it's done resting, add in your salt, yeast, and egg if you are doing the egg version. I'm adding 2 eggs because I am doubling the recipe. You'll be adding 11 grams of salt and 10 grams of instant yeast. If you are doing the sunflower lecithin version, you will not be adding egg here, you'll just be adding the salt and the yeast. Also, I want to add that you can add the egg in at the beginning with your other liquid ingredients, but I personally like to allow the gluten to develop before adding in the egg. Now that the egg is in, it will get a little messy looking here, but it does come together. I'm kneading on speed 2, and I'm going to allow this to knead until it forms a nice window pane, which usually takes no more than 10 minutes in my KitchenAid mixer. I have the commercial KitchenAid 8-quart mixer. This mixer is not the absolute best when it comes to kneading whole wheat dough, but it actually does do a really great job, and for the commercial model it doesn't seem to strain it too much. I like using it for smaller batches. For my family size, 24 hamburger buns is still a small batch, but for my large batches, when I'm doing like 12 loaves of bread, I use my Fromag IM10 mixer. Okay, here I'm just taking my dough out of the bowl so that I can oil it, and I also like to put my dough into a nice neat ball and then put it back into the mixer bowl. And I'm checking for a window pane here, and you can see it has a nice window pane. I'm going to put this back into my mixer bowl to double in size, and that for me can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour depending on the temperature in my home. And once it's done rising, I go ahead and deflate the dough and I divide it. I'm using my scale to weigh out the entire dough, and then I'm going to divide it by how many number of buns that I'm making. I'm making 24, but the recipe is for 12. I am doubling the recipe because I love to have leftovers for the next day. Now, because I am typically in a hurry whenever I'm making anything, because I have 8 children, I am, instead of dividing it by cutting it, I'm going to put the whole dough on the scale and just rip off pieces and continue to zero the scale out after I take dough out of the bowl. So after doing the math on how many grams each one should be, I want to say it was around 85 or 90 grams for each bun. And so what I do is I pull out dough until it gets to the 85 or 90 grams, and then I zero my scale and just continue to pull and shape. And so I form it into a nice tight ball in my hand, and then to create more tension, I roll it or actually glide it along the table. Uh-oh, there goes my baby. He's in my baby carrier and he's getting more and more curious as to what I'm doing with my phone. I notice he's looking at the phone a lot more. So I'm just shaping these as fast as I can. It's very forgiving. It does not have to be perfect. If you were shaping these into hot dog buns, you would take your circle of dough and you would flatten it out and roll it out and then roll it into a log, pinching the ends. And that would be how you would shape it into a hot dog bun. I'll be sure to post another video on how I shape my hot dog buns, but it's pretty straightforward. You just shape it into a log. Now that my buns are shaped, I'm going to cover it with a damp cloth and allow it to rise for about 45 minutes to an hour. This is after they have risen. Bake in a preheated 350-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And here is the finished product: soft, delicious, whole wheat, fresh milled burger buns. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below.